A word for our listeners. Achtung Cthulhu is set in the 1930s and 40s. We will be using terms and sayings from those times, including some that could be considered offensive. It is not our intention to offend. We merely wish to offer as accurate a view of the time period as possible. Welcome to Masks of Nyarlathotep, a Nerd's Domain gaming podcast. Join us each week as our investigators uncover the corruption of the mythos in World War II. Starring George Chimples, Phil Durham, Rob Walker, Justin Kimmet, Shirley Niedzwiecki, and Scott Troiano, with Matt Quiett running the table as the keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed Nazi cultists await you just beyond this music.
Hi everybody and welcome back to the Nerds Domain Presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. I'm Matt and I'm here with Shirley.
Hello.
George.
Grog Think Tank.
Rob.
Having a great time.
Phil.
Yo, yo, yo.
And from the deep dark
Abyss.
jungles of Africa, we've got Jesse.
Howdy.
He was in Antarctica earlier, so now he's in Africa. He's
I
moved.
was like, whoa. How's that plane ride?
What is the next A
bit
continent
bumpy.
that he can be
That was a
from?
whole week ago.
Australia. He'll be in the
Kenya.
Outback. Good day.
After that,
Goodbye.
There are no more continents with A's.
Asia?
South America, North America, Asia.
Walkabout.
There's a lot of A's.
Every continent starts with an A, except for
Europe.
Europe.
a Europe.
Europe.
The A's just silent.
It's spelled like enema. We're on the same page. Let's go.
Okay, so can we... I would really like to focus now, guys. So as I was saying, last time we were meeting our group, and they met with their German contact, and now we are kind of... they're making their plans.
Hello?
What do you guys have plans for?
We're going to infiltrate the Thule Society, because that sounds safe.
So, Jesse, Albrecht is going to pass along the information for the party on Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
I will pass along the information for the party on Saturday.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys want to do between, let's say you're there on Wednesday, that you arrived on Wednesday, and that Saturday?
I need to find something to wear.
You probably packed something nice.
Mm-hmm.
We should find us a nice safe house. Somewhere we can retreat to, that we only know about, that we only use in a rare occasion. Like we
For
actually need it.
emergencies.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So Gorb, or not Gorb. Wrong character.
Wrong character.
William, you're going to set up a safe house?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you assisting him, Evelyn?
If I could. I mean...
I'll assist him
don't
since I know the area.
Yeah, I think Albrecht should assist.
Okay. Carlos, see anything you want to specifically do? I know what you're doing. Phil.
I would
I'm
like
just waiting.
to research
I'm going to watch Brian.
occult stuff.
You're going to research occult stuff? Where are you going to
You mean
research this occult stuff?
Do I have Wilkerson's journal or no?
You have a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to research that?
Yeah,
Okay.
read through some of that.
Okay. And so, Carlos, you're watching Brian. Brian, what are you doing?
Well, I'm going to go to church and confess. And
What did you do?
Yeah, I don't know. He's Catholic. He has to confess.
pretty sure as a Catholic,
He woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
I did something. I had an impure thought. I probably wanted to kill Al because he was an idiot. And then I had to go, wait, that's not a good thought. And so now I had to go confess.
Okay.
And then, did we get any names?
For
Thule Society members from...
Dietrich Bader. That's as far as we got.
Okay.
Did you want to look in on some of them?
I don't know that I would have any contacts necessarily here, so I think that I probably would not, unless I can think of a way that doing so wouldn't arouse suspicion as to why I'm investigating these people.
Okay.
I considered it, but I think I'm going to act against it.
Okay. Anybody else? Any interest in anything? Doing anything else?
Following Brian to church.
Okay. Are you going in church?
Are you hiding that you're going to church?
Unless everyone else is announcing where they're going when, I'm just going to go out at some point. I'm not...
You're followed by Carlos.
Are you hiding that you're following me? No, I don't hide. I just... probably about halfway there, I might approach you.
Okay.
Are you coming to join me at the church?
Oh, is that where you're going?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That
Then
was
I would
riveting.
I would go to the church. There might be some small chatter, but nothing that I feel needs to be played out.
I just sit in the back pew while he does stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure I light a candle. I'm not a Catholic, but light a candle, do confession, pray a little. And then on my way out, I'll say, I think I'm ready to go. Care to walk with me back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
And you guys head back?
Yeah.
Anything special, Carlos?
No.
Okay. You guys get back to the hotel. Everything else goes fine. You go back to the church more than once.
It's
Wednesday. You probably went on Thursday.
I went on Thursday. I would in the party Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'll go Saturday morning.
Okay. Follow him again, Carlos.
Do you make any attempt to hide?
I would probably before I left say I'm going to the church. Would you care to join me?
Okay.
You guys go and come back, nothing big. You guys set up a safe house on a nondescript street away from everything. You have Albrecht set it up so it's not some American setting up a safe house. It's a little less catchable that way. But everything else seems to go by fine. And Saturday rolls around. You are invited to the home of a Mr. von Kampf.
Does this invitation come to us, or does it come through?
It's that the Thule Society is meeting at Mr. von Kampf's house. You are the guests of Albrecht, so you're included in that invitation, but it's not specifically sent out to anyone. This is the standard meeting kind
Very
of
good.
thing.
Thank you.
So you guys make it. Do you have a question?
Was Al given any specific instructions not to talk about the ceremonies that were performed?
Nope.
So he can openly talk about reaching enlightenment.
Maybe.
It's less a secret society and more of a society with secrets.
Yeah, but is what you did secret? It wasn't directly told to him not to say anything, but that's maybe that's how they weed people out.
Would it be bad for excuse me,
Diego?
Are you a doctor?
Yeah, I don't go by doctor though. Not right now.
If Professor Thomas were to, reference your visions, would it be rude for you to have, or bad for you?
I haven't seen anyone else talk about it out loud. But I haven't seen anybody specifically not, so I'm not...
It's probably a good sign that you should not.
Yeah, most societies don't like sharing that kind of information
with non-societyers.
Right.
So he may...
Or even low-level societies.
Jesse, you may have mentioned that you reached some new enlightenment, but not how or what it was. Just that there is something else beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the information you would feel comfortable sharing, Dr. Thomas.
Okay.
Dr. Professor Thomas.
Mr. Dr. Professor.
Agent Mr. Dr. Professor.
Agent Mr. Dr. Professor.
Thomas. So you guys head to the party, all dressed appropriately for the time and nicely. You get there. There's probably 30 people. The ground floor has been opened up to everyone to use. There's like a parlor and a sitting room, a dining room that has been. There have been chairs brought in, but the big table in the middle has been removed, and smaller tables with like finger foods and that kind of thing. It's not dinner, but there's enough here to eat dinner. Like it's expected that you would have eaten this would be your meal, but it's not expected for you to carry a plate around or anything. Beer is available as well as some wine.
I would have given strict instructions to not drink. Everyone there not to drink any liquor.
Okay. Liquor or alcohol?
Liquor, alcohol. Anything that imbibes senses.
Okay.
Even if that makes us stand out?
Yeah, even that would definitely make us stand out.
Well, it would make you, Albrecht, stand out. It may not make the Americans. So you guys get there, you mingle. There are a couple of people, William, that you know just through reputation from various archaeological circles. There is a gentleman named Weissler. He's not up there, but not Waffles, the disgruntled penguin.
Disobedient.
Disgruntled.
He's not disgruntled. He's disobedient.
Okay. Well, not him.
Is he gruntled?
He is very gruntled. I use that often, actually. It's a real word.
Mm-hmm.
There is a gentleman named Reinhard Weissler, who is in attendance as well. People seem to be giving him some deference. If he approaches a conversation, the conversation ends, and whoever he approached to speak to goes with him. He doesn't command anything, he doesn't ask anything, but when he appears, it stops. You do know that he is an archaeologist with the backing of the SS. So when he goes in, he has SS scientists and archaeologists go with him, and they're often well protected.
Weissler?
Weissler. Yes.
So that would be Weissler.
Weissler, yeah.
Viceroy, got it.
Oh, gosh.
So you guys are there for an hour or so before the woman that clearly is the person that that Albrecht described, Claudia, appears. And it kind of hushes for a moment to let her speak. And she welcomes everyone. She specifically calls out the four of you as welcome guests and that she's happy to see you here. William, she seems to speak in a way that she knows of your reputation. Just a general, welcome to the party. You guys got there kind of on time, so this is more of everybody's probably here by now. She finally, after kind of her announcements, she says, so tonight's topics will be kind of spoken. We expect you to speak to each other about them. And one of the things that we wanted to bring up and discuss in smaller groups is the concepts of the Dreamlands and what those mean to us, what they mean to Germany, what we can learn from them, and how we can best experience them. So please feel free to discuss that. At different points this evening, we'll have a small demonstration, but enjoy your time in between now and then.
So I would gravitate to Weissler.
Okay.
Someone I recognize, someone I know of.
He greets you warmly for a German, very warmly for a German. It's good evening.
Your work has been brilliant, and it is wonderful to meet
And
you.
yours, Dr. Thomas, is not as well known as perhaps mine, but still very impactful.
Nothing like yours, though.
The paper you wrote on that dig was phenomenal.
We just got lucky. We finally hit something that I found worthy of my efforts.
Luck does have something to do with our acts.
Yeah, it does.
So what brings you to Germany?
We had heard about an interesting group, and that's, a good friend of mine who had studied with me, Al.
Yes, Mr. von Trotha, yes.
Yeah, Mr. von Trotha told me about a society that he was really enjoying and was really finding a lot of peace and salvation in, and I had to know more about this.
I see. Yes, he is one of our newest of our groups that we have begun to enlighten.
Oh, what enlighten?
There are things out there that when you experience them and see them, bring you to a new level and help you understand things. Are you familiar with the concepts behind the Dreamlands? Your writings don't speak a lot about occult understandings, but perhaps you pick something along your time.
Well, in our circles, there's a lot of dialogue about the parallel world theories and the overlapping of two planes, and so
that's one way to look at it. I view the Dreamlands as more of a shared experience. Someone's dreaming at any time. Right. So that's what keeps the Dreamlands. If no one was dreaming at all and everyone was awake, the Dreamlands may cease to exist. That's my personal belief.
So if something impactful enough were to happen, then they could disappear.
Yes, if everyone is awake all at once across the world, but everyone contributes their dreams and sustains the Dreamlands through their dreams.
Well, then it's a good thing there's nothing impactful enough to wake up the whole world.
That's true. And there are things trapped within the Dreamland that slumber there as well.
What do you mean? How can something be trapped in the dreams?
Well, you've had a vivid dream, correct?
Yes.
A very vivid dream. So much so that when you woke up, whatever you hurt in the dream, ached a little in real life.
Yes, but that's always been written off as just
psychosomatic response. Yeah. Yes. No, this, it's our belief that, or at least my belief, that it's a deeper connection that you can actually cross into the Dreamlands.
How would you make that such a journey? And that's like physically, or are we talking like a metaphysical?
The force of your own will can pull you there.
What?
When modified correctly.
There's no precedent in physics that even comes close to this kind
Physics does not apply here.
This should even metaphysics. I mean, in your study
metaphysics does not apply here. This is
essentially. I mean, this is exactly metaphysics.
Now, please don't laugh. Are you familiar with magic or the concepts of magic?
The idea of yes,
that they break that which we believe is physically possible, and we understand and go beyond.
And if you've looked at my recent papers, there's an explanation behind the magics. Even someone like a character of Merlin would have.
Absolutely, there are myths behind that. I completely agree. But what if there were other beings that see the world in such a different way that they're applying their understanding is what we understand as magic?
You're talking like aliens.
I guess that would be a very rudimentary way of looking at that.
Because I mean, that's essentially something of not of this world. I mean, that's I've got my own thoughts on this process.
Yes. So take something that is so vastly foreign to our concepts and understandings, and it turns on a light switch, and that starts a sun, and we don't understand that. How does that work? The suns don't just turn on. There's physics and quantum mechanics behind that. This is beyond that. They didn't need all of that. It just happened.
So gods.
In one way or another. That's something you could consider. And I believe we can tap into that power, and I believe that you will see a version of that tonight.
She said something about the demonstration. How does this occur?
Well, that demonstration will be different. If you were speaking of crossing into dreams, there is a lesser form that you can take that we helped Mr. von Trotha experience, and then a true form you can take that will take you to the Dreamlands. But we take it in steps, and someone like Mr. von Trotha, who has interest but no real interest, needs to be guided. Someone like you, though, I can see their keen mind already shows that you are interested.
Oh, always. I mean, this would take us one step closer to proving.
Oh, no, not just one. Many. And there, when he says many, there is a gleam in his eyes that I need you to make a sanity roll for. Because it is both unsettling and supremely confident.
So are you guys off by yourself, or is this
I made it.
I could have followed along and listened.
You don't lose anything. I assume. Are you guys just talking kind of? Weissler is not moving away from anybody.
We wouldn't have gone off on our own anywhere. We would have been kind of
like stood there and listened.
Yeah, kind of.
When he Weissler has been almost tunnel visioned on Mr. Thomas, but as because you. Rob, your William just stops for a moment and doesn't seem to know what to say. Like that unsettled you, kind of deep down inside. Just that look he gave you. When you stop talking, Weissler looks over and says, "Oh, my dear, it's a pleasure to meet you. You are one of Dr. Thomas's assistants."
Yes, I am.
Reinhold Weissler, and he puts out his hand.
Is this my fake name or my real name?
Whatever you want to use.
You went with your real names. Your real name is enough.
Yeah, you're known as a student at
Miskatonic.
That wouldn't be unheard of.
We
Evelyn
want that.
October.
He takes your hand and kisses it and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss October."
And it's very nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
What do you think of these concepts?
I think they're very interesting and definitely are due some exploring.
So you haven't written anything that I'm aware of.
No, not quite.
What are your interests in archaeology and the occult?
Archaeology. My my uncle was a dealer in antiquities, and he took me all over the world.
Augustus.
Yes, Augustus October.
We have competed for a few things, knickknacks here and there. He's a shrewd negotiator.
Yes, he is.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet his fine niece. I never had a chance to really deal with Augustus personally, but he did swipe a few things out from underneath me here and there.
He would do that sometimes.
It's unfortunate that your family moved so long ago to the States. Your family would do well here.
Yes, but we've had some experiences that helped our family. So
excellent. So you hope to learn from Dr. Thomas and take steps to become your own published researcher?
Yes.
Excellent. I bet Dr. Thomas here is an excellent teacher.
Yes, he is.
Dotting your I's and crossing your T's. That's the first step.
So these other gentlemen you brought with you, are they also students at Miskatonic?
They are not, but they're both very experienced world travelers. I've got, Mr. Diego is part of my security force to keep just kind of...
What language are we talking in?
German.
I will step forward. Pardon, my German is bad. Mostly technical, keep the trucks running, water pumps.
Yeah.
Technical issues. I'll offer to shake hands.
He takes your hand and then he responds back to you in Spanish because it's clearly a Spanish accent. Would you prefer in Spanish?
They won't understand.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, sir. And he takes your hand and shakes it. The skin is a little soft, but there's a strength underneath it, almost like a velvet glove over like a thick metal, but it's all natural looking. I figured you would notice skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other gentleman?
The other gentleman I'm actually relatively new to. He's one of my research assistants as well. He was just brought on recently. I heard he's got experiences, but I'm not too sure of yet.
He looks over at you, and you have got none of this. It's all in German, unless you speak Spanish. I don't think you do.
No, I don't, and I'm not standing nearby.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
No.
Well, they look over. He kind of looks around. And he says, "Well, I'll meet him later this evening, I'm sure. Perhaps after the demonstration, we can take another step and." I don't know if we have everything we need on hand to take a full experience. This is not my. I'm more or less here, visiting. My home is farther west from here, but perhaps we can take a smaller step like Albrecht did.
Yeah, no, that sounds intriguing.
Okay, would that be something that you would be interested in as well, Miss October?
Yes.
And he switches to Spanish. And you, Diego, would you like to take a step into furthering enlightenment this evening?
Yeah, sure.
Are you as non... Are you a... Was it really a yeah, sure, or was it a yes? Because there's a fine line there.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. You were saying...
Just for the setting, since you set it up in a dining room.
they're in the dining room.
So I'm in the room. I haven't disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm just not right where that conversation
Are you
is happening.
chatting with other people, I assume?
Yeah.
The few that speak enough English to really kind of give a...
Right.
You
I'm
speak-
not being specifically antisocial. I'm not going out of my way to be extremely social either.
You're being the foreigner that doesn't speak a lot of German.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. The people are very friendly to you, but don't talk a lot.
Where's Al at?
That's a good question.
That's what I was buried asked. Did you state Claudia was there?
Claudia was there, announced something. She has left the dining room and has made her way into the parlor and has taken a seat, drinking a glass of wine, and is chatting and laughing with an older German gentleman.
I will. Would it be improper to approach them, or
No, absolutely not.
then that is where I'll be.
Okay.
I do have a question about my vision.
Okay.
When you stated that I'd seen the black sun, are you talking about the emblem, or was the sun like literally a black object that was...
It was like staring into the abyss, and the abyss. I mean, literally, it is like looking into nothingness, and it does seem to look back at you.
Okay.
And it was a both physical and non-physical object.
Okay. Then yeah, I will go try to get close to them two and bring the subject around to that.
Okay. Give me... Do you have bargain or fast talk?
I have persuade.
Yeah, use that.
Okay, let's see here. 83. Did I put a lot in persuade, maybe? No, yeah, that didn't work.
Okay. So you attempt to kind of draw the conversation that direction. Eventually, it's clear that you have failed, but Claudia smirks and kind of... She doesn't dismiss the gentleman, but makes it clear that she'd love to speak with you instead. He gets up and leaves, and you sit. And then she motions for your beer to be replaced to one of the people serving, and they come and do that.
Okay. I will accept a new beer.
And she takes another glass of wine. She says, so, Albrecht, how is your evening?
It's going rather well. I was... Is everyone's dream state the same?
My dear, let us talk a little quieter than that. But yes, we can discuss it. As she starts to talk to you, she becomes very... she grazes you and touches you and places her hand on your shoulder and your arm. There's obviously a level of contact that she is making between you and her. She says, the dream state isn't a dream state, it's a place. You seemed to be processing what you saw, so we let you have your time. We understand it can be a very powerful situation that when you go through something like that. And now I'm glad that you're choosing to talk with us about it. It's not a dream state. It's not a vision that everyone sees. It is a place that you experienced.
Time flows differently there, doesn't it?
In many ways. In many places.
So I'm assuming I only seen a small part of this place?
Oh, only the smallest parts, but perhaps one of the most important.
Can you tell me anything about the... When I was there, I seen this sun that was just like nothing. It wasn't even black. Black would be something.
Black would be something, and it is something, but not black. But we do call it the black sun. It's our it's our uninformed way of describing it.
What would be the more informed way?
Nothing in an earthly language can truly do that. As she starts to talk about this, you're, obviously becoming a little more unsure. You don't like the idea of what she's saying, but you're going to keep talking to her, obviously. So
Yeah. I'm going to try hard to hide my discomfort. Actually, I'm going to try to mask my discomfort as discomfort with intimacy instead of discomfort with the subject matter.
roll persuade.
Come on, don't fail me this time. 48. I made it, but barely. But it's a make.
Okay. She doesn't seem to notice either way.
Okay.
So what do you think it was that you saw?
I don't think I've seen enough of it to make a good guess. I've never seen anything like it. It's definitely something.
That's a way to describe it.
It had a presence.
A very sure presence.
Yes. I felt both welcomed and disliked at the same time.
I wouldn't describe it as dislike, more of a disdain.
Maybe.
That was your grasp to this realm and our mortal understandings that it was completely against.
So you say this is a different place. Was I physically there? Because I was pretty sure I was asleep.
You experienced a place, but you were not there. Consider it, you're familiar with the a term of astral projection, correct?
Yes.
Something along those lines. You can be physically there, but this was a lesser form of what we can do with that.
Have you been other places than just that one location, or is that something I look forward to in the future, or is this?
We, as long as you continue to show promise, we can continue to show you more. I have myself strolled through the plains of Lang. They are terrifying and beautiful.
The plains of Ang? Is that
Lang?
What, Lang? Is that what this is?
This is a valley within that. The Valley of the Black Sun.
You give me a lot to think about.
Well, we see promise in your abilities, and if you're interested, we can pursue those more.
I'm interested. There's more here than I was expecting.
Roll persuade again for me.
I knew I should have put more in persuade. No.
No?
No.
There's a hardness that goes across her eyes, and then it softens. And she touches your cheek almost full-handed, and she lightly pats it. She says, "Your interest is important to us. Don't ever think it isn't. If you'll excuse me." And then she kind of stands, leaves her glass there. It has been emptied without you really noticing. And she proceeds off into the kitchen.
Even though I got a failed persuade, could I tell that was kind of like a cold shoulder? Or?
No, it was more of a, I'll break you because I can.
Okay. That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah. So the rest of the party goes well. Do you guys chat anyone else up specifically? I mean, there are society types. Not everyone is speaking directly about the Dreamlands. Some people are talking about the states of the world, and there are plenty of Germans that are interested in Americans and in a Spaniard. But it's just general high society conversation, nothing impolite. There's a lot of clear love for the German people and the German state, but and respect and some love for Hitler, but it's not outright like they're not throwing up their arms in salute or anything.
Just gonna talk to people about their current works, what's going on in the academic area here.
If you have espionage, can I get a roll from everyone? And not everyone is an archaeologist. Then don't roll it.
The ones that I recognize.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I got espionage.
You got the roll, or you actually have it on your sheet?
Oh, I got the roll.
I got it 1 under Fitty.
You rolled a 1? Okay. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Missed it by 12.
Okay. If you succeeded, you notice that there are 5 or 6 men who are pretending to move about the room, but are not moving about the room. They are not talking to people. They are doing their part, but there's something strange about them and the way that they're not doing anything. You also notice that 2 of the servers, 2 of the gentlemen servers are very much watching the room and everyone there. Thomas or William, you notice that the 5 men are not the same 5 men all the time. There's a uniformity to their facial features, but that there are 3. There are at times all of them shorter, or all of them taller, or some mix thereof. So their facial features seem similar, but are not the same. And they are obviously not the same person unless they're shrinking and growing, which that doesn't make any sense either. Are
they armed at all?
Not that you can tell. They are also holding themselves in a very military stance.
Are we?
It's a good question. I believe in some Lost episodes, someone said, "Well, why wouldn't I take my gun?"
I have a gun.
I have a gun.
Unless I was directed otherwise, I have a gun.
I have a pistol in my guard.
I've been waving mine wildly around at this entire party.
In some Lost episode, I know I was specifically ordered not to take a gun with me on a very important occasion.
That doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
I don't recall that happening.
Ever.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So are you all armed, except maybe perhaps Albrecht?
Albert said he had a gun.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I have a handgun.
He said a gun.
That's right. I forgot. Jesse's super paranoid.
I don't like these guys.
Okay.
Why not?
Because they mess with my head.
Oh, you meant the Thule people.
Yeah. No, I don't have my gun because of you guys. Well, I do, but...
So the rest of the night proceeds rather calmly. William, you talk back and forth with a few other people. They mention a couple of digs to you. There sounds like there was a dig. Let me check the location because I don't remember what it is. There was a dig a few years ago that Weissler has not published anything on. It's believed that he found quite a bit of information there, and he hasn't really given any information out about it yet.
It's Werewolf City in western Poland.
It's actually it was to Sweden, in a cave near
Werewolf City.
Bohuslän.
That sounds like Werewolf City.
That's what it loosely translates to from the Swedish.
Yes, it's real loosely in Swedish. It's Werewolf City. It's actually Werewolf Capital City.
Werewolfsburg.
Werewolfsburg.
Von Strasse House.
Do they have a kiosk there?
To those that aren't able to see, George has got this beautiful smirk and a nice, good, happy cat stretch going.
I had to stretch with that one.
Anyway, this dig in Sweden from 1936. He hasn't produced any writings for, but there was a lot of artifacts brought back, or the dig was found by one of his former proteges, Nina Wolf. And you've not heard of her either, but that doesn't mean anything. She may not be an archaeologist of note.
Right, still coming up and coming. The luck get lost in the woodwork.
But who just heard this person's name?
Thomas, William, because he's been speaking with other people about archaeology.
Okay.
So I'm going to reapproach Weissler.
Okay.
When did you guys discover the Dreamlands?
Oh, it's been 65 years ago now.
65. So it wasn't something you did.
No, I discovered it 65 years ago. He does not look at a day over maybe 50.
Carlos snorts slightly.
Wow, you are aging beautifully.
Well, the time travels differently there.
How long have
Slower?
you spent there?
Faster?
Oh, decades? Well, I was gone from... Well, we'll get deeper into that later.
How much land is there to explore?
How much land can the human mind, while dreaming, create?
It's infinite.
It is infinite.
Does he look like really just like fervid with like belief? here?
There's flashes of that crazed, fervor belief, but there's still an academic mind behind it. So kind of like you look sometimes.
What, me, the player?
Yes, you the player. Like when you decide that you're going to mess with another character in a game, and you get that half crazed look. Yeah, that one.
That was me playing a character.
I no, but that's that look. But then then he just sometimes looks normal, like you do now. Yeah, yeah. There you go, man. I got that picture already. I'm going to send that up on. Yeah, that's terrifying. Okay, I'm good. I'm losing sanity.
So
Is that what the shadow people look like?
Oh, no, they do not.
No.
I'm not sure if you are aware of it, but you've got some of your colleagues here that are talking about a dig about 2 years ago.
And 3. It's been
Three?
Yeah,
3
yes,
years
in
ago.
Sweden.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting find. It took up a lot of my time.
What, if you don't mind? I mean, purely academic. I'm not going to steal anything. You know that.
There are the depths that you would have to understand before you could even begin to understand what we found there are beyond where you're at now. The dreamlands and experiencing them is merely the first few steps. This is much deeper.
For a find here in our lands.
You have no idea.
It's pretty cold in Sweden.
It is cold in Sweden.
It's very, very interesting. And my character says that very sincerely.
Carlos is smirking openly.
His blood cracking out of his face.
No, he's not that kind of concentration.
Okay.
So when do we get to experience this?
Oh. I would have to pass that by some people first.
I need to know.
Perhaps if the right people beat you and like you, that's a possibility, but there has to be a deep sincerity in this.
You have not met an academic with this level of sincerity.
What do you believe of, what do you think of the German people?
The people themselves, the culture, the society?
Yes.
I think they're very strong. They've had a long history to prove that they're a strong people. They've had to overcome a lot of adversity. They've never had the right place that they deserve.
And our place after World War One?
Abysmal. It was an atrocity. The world should have fixed and solved the problems to make you a better country instead of putting you under the ground.
And what of the surrender that ended the war?
Circumstantial. You had no choice.
And what do you think of the Fuhrer?
This is kind of where my knowledge ends, because I've not heard much. He doesn't get a lot of talk on the shores that I...
And of the Jewish people? And he is staring very intently.
You mean the money grubbers and the world stealers?
Roll persuade. Or roll persuade. You may not have a very good persuade. You're not a very good...
2 over. On a 15. That was a 17 on a 15. Come on now.
Perhaps I can speak to someone. It would be nice to have more academic minds. Your friend Albrecht has certain traits that we could use. Perhaps others of your group do as well. We will find out later tonight. As long as they're all interested in experiencing something that will open their minds.
I cannot attest to the rest of my group because I'm fairly new to them, but I'm ready to be open. And again, that's genuine character sincerity. That academic in him is flying off the cuff.
Well, perhaps we will later. Right now, I believe that my friend Claudia has something to show the group. And it is kind of about that time that...
we get a PowerPoint?
No.
I got something to say.
Everyone kind of gathers in the kitchen. It's a little cramped because the center of the room is left pretty open. A small table made of wood. It's a very rudimentary, not pretty at all table, but very sturdy. Is brought in by two of the servants, set down there, and then a body is brought in, carried gently. It's a gentleman in an SS officer uniform. He looks young, but there is a gunshot hole clearly in his chest. It's quit bleeding. He's just from a quick glance. If anyone has medicine, they can roll it or first aid. Everybody should have a little first aid.
Got it at 06. Under 70. They're on fire tonight.
Yeah. It's either just barely failing or really succeeding.
Yeah.
I haven't trained in either of them.
You should have at least base in first aid. You can roll that.
That's 30%.
Yeah.
Ought 8.
So if you succeeded, he has been dead enough that he has fallen out of rigor mortis. His wound, while bloody, is not bleeding. He's not decomposing badly, but he's going to start. He's kind of laid gingerly on the table. And then Claudia walks in and strolls over, kind of dragging her hand across the table in a very sensual way along the edge, and kind of circles around him. And she says, "This is a soldier of the Reich. He was shot, unfortunately, in an accident. But he still has duties to perform."
I poke the body.
Do you really walk over and kind of poke the body?
The exposed flesh, yes.
Around his chest? Or in his chest?
There's
a hole in the uniform. It hasn't been dressed. It's just kind of open.
I do that.
She just kind of watches you. She doesn't seem upset or anything. Your fingers get a little blood on them, but he's dead.
My character cringed.
Yeah.
I lick them.
You lick them?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's blood.
Okay.
Cold.
Yes.
You see the face that Shirley's got there where she's gagging and kind of holding her stomach in right there? That's what my character's doing right now.
I'm looking at him kind of like the way I look at the rest of the society.
It's not corn syrup. I say that out loud.
Our friend Tahira, and she kind of waves to the kitchen, and an Egyptian woman walks in. We'll show you that death no longer has hold over the Reich. Yes. Yeah. Yes. This is the wife. Actually, Carlos, you would know as well. This is the wife of Captain Wilkerson, or Lord Wilkerson, whatever his title is.
So she would know us. She's met us.
That doesn't mean that she remembers you or that you were important.
We
That's
were
been 2.5 years ago, and it was a brief.
And
experience.
we were mostly.
He's got a jacked up face.
I was in steerage, I believe. I don't think
they ever really saw Carlos, but he would be aware of her.
Yeah, because it was. I think I saw them because it was October and
when we were trying to steal
Wilkerson, or not Wilkerson, the German fellow, our Scout's character.
Wilhelm Schultz.
Schultz and August were up in the first class one having dinner with them, while the rest of us were down in steerage doing other stuff. So we weren't at dinner with them, or
they may have seen you on the boat.
There
but
was
that's
at the hotel at the lunch. I think all the characters were at the hotel for
That's
the
what
lunch.
I thought.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
Yes, there was a lunch
Yes.
where that's where they very first re-entered.
Even then, it's still, yeah.
It was brief,
yeah.
and like we met in the bathroom and had some talks. I re-listened to things, getting ready for this session
Nice.
and stuff. But
Yeah, it would be brief. She seems more focused on the body than anything
Okay.
else. And obviously Evelyn is covering her mouth, trying not to vomit.
Would I
Yes.
have known her from a nobility standpoint?
Nope. Yes. You know, because you spent time in England, that Lord Wilkerson, the Earl of Sandwich, married a foreign woman, and it's all the buzz in the social circles. And you know this is her. You didn't realize she was in England or in Germany, but you knew he was. He has some very pro-Nazi visions.
since other people have described their reactions, Brian is unreactive to anything that's transpired, including everything that Diego Carlos has done. He just takes it all in with a stoic face.
Okay. So, Tahira walks in, stares at the body. She says a couple of words in what you can only assume is some sort of Egyptian language. None of you really speak it. William, you probably heard something similar if you've been in digs in Egypt, which would have been pretty standard for the time. So she pulls a small knife from the pocket of the body, drags it down across the shirt of his chest. She kind of moves you out of the way just by her kind of presence.
I would have
unless you
moved away.
Okay. And then pulls the shirt back, and with the knife lightly begins to etch a pattern into the chest while repeating something over and over in a language that none of you have really experienced before. Although, Evelyn, you have read it because you can pick up a couple of words here and there.
Right.
As she begins to etch into the bodies and finishes, she pulls back and drives the dagger into the hole in the chest. And then as she pulls it back out, the body seems to lift from that point up a little. And then there is an audible, there's an inaudible kind of release of energy through the room. You can all kind of feel it. All of you need to roll sanity.
Got it.
Fail.
I failed as well.
If you fail, you lose a d4. If you succeeded, you lose 1.
I lost 2.
3.
I just lost
D4?
the one I passed.
Yes, a d4. So she steps back away from the table. The body sits up in a very straight up, not like there's no muscle that pulls him up. He just sits straight up. Turns, his legs droop down over the side of the table, and he stands next to the table. The hole in his chest has begun to close itself, and it looks almost like tendrils are reaching out to grab each other and pull it shut. His skin is beginning to quickly fade from a grayish flesh color to almost a straight gray. And then one of the servants comes out and hands him a German rifle, which he takes and then stands at attention.
What do his eyes look like?
They have gone almost a complete black. They are open. They don't blink.
What's his expression like? Is it
Blank.
emotionless?
Yeah, just kind of like a blank slate.
While she was performing the ritual, I would have been kind of entranced in awe and moved forward, even if I had to brush past people, to the point where I would be, like, you know, a foot or two away from the table. But then when he starts standing up, I kind of move back a little bit.
You actually probably moved forward, and as that energy was expelled, like, took a half step back, and then when he stood up, took probably a full step and a half back.
Yeah.
I look to Weissler and I smile.
And he smiles back at you. He steps forward and says, "There's an enemy among us tonight. One who has given far too much information. Has explained far too much to those who did not have our blessing. And that will not be handled well. The Gestapo will not handle this. But he is still a traitor to the Reich and to the Fuhrer. And our new friend here will take care of that. Jesse, can you roll luck for me?
Yes. Let me see. 40, and my luck is... Oh, I'm lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I've got it by half.
He points
I'm
in Jesse's general direction, in Albrecht's general direction, and he says, "You know what you have done, and it will not happen again." And the gun fires, and Jesse, the character, or the man next to you, drops to the ground. Just dead. Bullet through the forehead.
Who's from the soldier?
Yeah, yes, he fired the gun. And then he bolt actions and puts it back up on his arm, or back up at attention.
I will take a step directly to the left away from the fallen guy.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, what was that?
Weissler was the one that made that announcement?
Yes.
I said I'm stepping away from the guy who just fell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that will do us tonight for Masks of Nyarlathotep. We will talk to you guys next week.
And that will do it for us tonight on the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. Remember, you can email us at nerdsdomain@gmail.com or find us on facebook.com/nerdsdomain, on Twitter @nerdsdomain, or over at our site nerdsdom.com. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. You can head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. We want to thank Josh Schott for our music. Don't forget, you can support us at patreon.com/nerdsdomain. And check out our shirts at slashloot.com.